Okay, so let me tell you about Dan Kennedy.
Dan Kennedy.
Dan Kennedy.
Dan Kennedy.
Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy.
Hi, this is Dan Kennedy. Regardless of your business, online, offline, or both.
I met Dan Kennedy early in my entrepreneurial journey. I was in college, actually. I remember I was trying to figure out how to do postcard marketing, and I came across this, weird old guy named Dan Kennedy. And I just remember at the time thinking, this guy has no idea what the internet is. When I got into it, I realized that what Dan was great at was all the things that actually mattered, and that it was this idea of the medium through which the marketing is done, whether it was direct mail, or heck, the Yellow Pages, or the internet. That's not the thing that actually matters. It's the message.
So I'll quickly show you. Here's a lead generation ad.
I don't think there's anybody ever, period, that has had a bigger impact in the field of direct response, advertising and marketing than Dan Kennedy.
His direct response marketing approach is what has spawned all of these companies, events, masterminds, you name it. He is a marketing master who has taught an untold number of experts that are now leading it.
I learned opportunity marketing through Dan. I learned replacement is always better than improvement. I learned a good pair of boots are always better than a good pair of shoes. They're not really lessons, they're kind of laws that you live by.
So this is an ad that ran in comic books.
He's written 30-some books, and I have all of them. Any information is as valuable in today's world as it was when he wrote the books.
That's why you want to look at the gold in the old.
It is timeless. You'll be able to get useful things that will serve you throughout life, as opposed to learning what color a button should be or how to run a particular thing in Facebook that's only good until everybody knows what that tactic is.
So the first time I heard who Dan was, or even heard his name mentioned, was actually from Russell Brunson. So I bought all the books that I could find on Amazon, and I sat down and I read all of them. And then I went and bought the courses off the GKIC website and went through probably about half of those. And that is what gave birth to the model that became Gym Launch, which ended up doing $28 million in revenue and $17 million in profit in its first full complete calendar year.
I would say that literally every dollar that I have given to Dan Kennedy, and I mean this 100% sincerely, has returned back to me 10,000-fold.
That's advertising.
We're sitting right now in one of the biggest marketing events in the world that we own. I don't think we would have ever pulled it off without the advice of Dan Kennedy.
The legend of Dan Kennedy should be ignored at your own peril.
So this is where we go for growth.
His ripple effect touches people who don't even know his name.
Dan's work is timeless, forever.
You will never, ever meet a better teacher.
I have no one to thank for that besides Dan.
If you look at all of the greatest marketers that you see today, in every industry, every market, and you start tracing back, all roads literally lead back to Dan. He was the beginning. He was where all this stuff started from. The world as we know it was changed because Dan Kennedy became obsessed with marketing.
Welcome to the stage, your host, Marty Ford.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody's doing great wherever you are. My name is Marty Ford. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And this entire week, I'm going to be with you for the kickoff of the Annoying Pest to Welcome Guest Challenge. So excited. We got a lot to do. And each day, we're going to be bringing you different homework, different lessons. We've got a great morning plan. We've also got 7 amazing guest speakers. So just thank you for spending the time with us today. And I have come, as I told the crew here earlier this morning, not slide light, slide heavy. I had so much to present. We could do this for a full 30 days, but we're going to break it down to 5 to maximize your time. So everybody at home, as I said, grab a cup of coffee, whatever you need, grab a pen, because we got a lot of writer-downers. Now, Bill Glazer is the one I got that term from. I'll give him credit for that. He's a big part of the Dan Kennedy history going back, but there's plenty of writer-downers in here. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm a direct guy. I'm a business owner, just like a lot of you, or a lot of you want to be business owners. So I've been a teacher for a long time, but this is our big goal for today and my job for this morning, which is we're going to help you identify who is your dream customer, okay? So go and put that down. We'll see everybody at home right. I can see you guys on the Zoom. Wave at me. I see you on the Zoom. Wave. Here you go. Hi. So pull your pens up, but we're here to work. This is not fluff. This is not a pep rally. This is a true, you took the time to be here with us this week, and we're going to give you all the value we can to really help you improve your business, your life, and a lot of things. And it all starts again with day one, who is your dream customer? So go ahead and put that down on your paper there, okay? Now, my story, is basically I'm a musician, I'm a music teacher, going back in time. You see, there's me in 2003. If any of you can buy in the show of hands back on the Zoom, lived through the 80s. A lot of you, yes. 80s MTV, that kind of thing, hair metal. So, I was into rock and roll, and that's me opening up for the lead singer of the band Rat and Skid Row, and I play with Kirk Hammett from Metallica. So I still to this day play music, do shows, write songs, all that kind of stuff. Got a degree in classical guitar. And then my whole game plan in life was not to end up where I ended up. And that's what's so amazing about the journey for you all today is you may have ideas of what you want to do and where you want to go, but magnetic marketing is going to take you on a wild ride that you don't know where you're going to end up. And just like you saw the gentleman in the clip before making $28 million off of launches, there's just so many cool things that can come out of it. And I'm going to talk about the changes it made for me. But my plan in life was to be a university music professor. And there was only one challenge with that, which is state universities, if you guys don't know this, every semester they'll send out a spreadsheet, and this is mind-blowing to me, and they'll show everybody on the spreadsheet what everybody else in the university makes. So in one swoop, every office in there, if you can imagine, everybody's going, okay, well, he's making this, she's making that. And it occurred to me, my father told me at that point I was going to make more money carrying the mail than being a music professor. So that didn't sound like a really great end game to me. So let's fast forward to now. You can see the hair's changed. It's not down to my waist, and this is what we do now. But now, what my life is like. So there's me and Dan Kennedy at a previous GKIC event, which I've been a private client of Dan's for going on now. This is my 14th year. I'm going to GKIC events for a very long time. Well, not GKIC, of course, now. ClickFunnels, Magnetic Marketing. A round of applause, guys, for all Russell's done with bringing ClickFunnels and Magnetic Marketing together. It's just fantastic, okay? So, but in the previous incarnations, I've been around this world a long time, been around Dan a long time, and of course, been a fan and a student of Russell for a long time. But I own brick and mortar businesses. Show on the Zoom there at home, curiosity. How many people raise your hand if you have brick and mortar business? Okay, good. Raise your hand if you're online only. Okay, raise your hand if you don't have a business at all, but you're just looking to get going. Okay, raise your hand if you have your business, but you want to do a lot better. Even that applies to me. Those are the hands I want to see. Okay, good. So, when I got out of the university, what happened was, I started this school, and I started using magnetic marketing, which is everything I'll show you today. So I identified my dream customer. I identified my avatar. I'm going to take you through a lot of that, okay? And I started Columbia Arts Academy, which is a school, so we do like lessons for piano, for guitar, for drums, basically for children. I'm going to take you through that, okay? So if you want to check out the website, it's ColumbiaArtsAcademy.com. Now we have 3 locations. What's really cool is I own the locations for each as far as the building. Over 1,500 students. So again, this is not a small mom and pop thing. One thing that always cracks me up is what will happen if you embrace magnetic marketing is you're going to have your awkward Thanksgiving conversation, and this is what that means. No one in my life understands at Thanksgiving when they say, well, how's your little guitar studio doing? Well, the little guitar studio is now making millions, and they're like, well, what do you do? I do business coaching. And they're looking at me like, business coaching, okay. No, they no reference. And my mother-in-law, who passed away, she always said, I've never seen anybody, she's from Miami, so tough, like in Jersey talk. She said, I've never seen anybody in sweatpants make as much bread as you do. I said, well, thanks, Tony, but yeah, it works. So the way it worked out is I started using magnetic marketing, and there's the brick and mortar store, and I started using it for that. I'm going to take you through a lot of that. We went to scale with my daughter, Katie. That's our Lexington location, which is awesome, gorgeous place. I'm here in Idaho taping. It's a real, beautiful nature here. Same thing there. And this is our avatar. This is our ideal customer. The ideal customer is the parents of this child, okay? And especially the moms, and I'm going to get into that pretty great detail. This is our latest acquisition, which is our Irmo School. It's an awesome building, and what's cool is, especially I'm here at the headquarters at ClickFunnels, and it's phenomenal. Downstairs is the music school, but upstairs is the coaching business. So I was able to put 2 in the same place. It's really, really cool. So again, there's our avatar. And then I made the big transition, which is a classic thing Dan's done, and I would suspect, I don't think anybody in the history of coaching and marketing, and you heard all the people that talk about what a great teacher he is, and he is, which is why I've been studying with him for 14 years, is he helped me make the transition to make a system, identify my ideal customer, my avatar, but then we're going to talk a lot about this with the ultimate marketing machine and what that is, and so how to then replicate that and then teach it to others. So fast forward to today. Now here's the big thing, everybody at home, please take this to heart. The coaching business makes more income than all 3 schools combined. The coaching business makes more than all 3 schools combined. So musicacademysuccess.com. We have so if you ever watch Bar Rescue, if you've ever seen that TV show, or Gordon Ramsay Kitchen Nightmares, what they do for restaurants and bars is what I do for people that are playing piano and want to go on from there. And we've had a tremendous amount of success. We had one client, Jelko, who in Houston started with us with 5 students. Fast forward to today, he's up to 4,000. He made the Inc. 500, and not the Inc. 5,000. The Inc. 500. He's doing $10 million a year, and he started off just playing violin and working out of that. Okay, so I've been coaching now for 15 years. Been running the schools for 20. This is us. Well, we sell out our conference every year. It's been a great niche for me. There's actually us at Cleveland. A lot of you will recognize this room from the Cleveland event that Dan's done a lot of stuff with. This is at Graceland. So if you saw the Elvis movie, this is on the Graceland property. And for me, that was a lot of fun. But I want to take a moment and talk about my aha moment, which is waiting for a student on the sidewalk. So when I was turning 30, I've been teaching music for a long time. And that's one of the big things we want to stress to you today is that you can learn at marketing, you can learn how to do this stuff, but you got to get serious about it and understand you want to be good at it, okay? So I'm waiting on a student to show up. Student's not showing up. And kind of my life flashed before my eyes of, do I want to be teaching a kid with a Metallica shirt at age 40 and age 50 and age 60? And it didn't look like a pretty picture. So I was like, I need to get motivated and get my act together and get this thing moving along. You know what I mean? So what was not working basically was everything. The marketing was not working. It was me teaching all the lessons by myself, doing all the admin by myself, doing all the marketing by myself, okay? So none of that was working, but I learned about Dan Kennedy. The book I started with was The Ultimate Marketing Plan. And here's my big switch, and this is your writer downers. Let's get this pens going. Your pen should be out of ink by the end of day one and definitely throughout the week. So get a whole box of them. You're going to need them. But when I made the mindset shift from annoying pest to welcome guest, everything became easier. And I'm still driving to the university. I'm still teaching this, but then we went to 100 students. And then we went to 200 students. And then we went to 3, 4, 5. And I finally just went to the dean and said, listen, I got to leave the university. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, well, this is taking off like a rocket, and this is doing this, and I got to go do this. And that's what happened. But it was the big shift, guys, of, again, number one, and as a teacher, you're going to hear me say a lot of things multiple times, because they think the studies show you have to hear something 5 times to really ingrain it, and as a teacher, I've seen that to be true. So again, ideal customer, avatar, we're going to get more into that, but again, making the shift from annoying pest to welcome guests, what our whole week is about. So, what perfect way to segue to hear from the man himself. Enjoy this video clip from the man, the myth, and the legend, Dan Kennedy, discussing going from annoying pest to welcome guest. He's going to talk about discussing the difference of shifting from being a business owner to a true entrepreneur, and let's enjoy this video from Dan.
People show up as annoying pests precisely because they don't get message to market match going in. Right. So this is actually true. I was living in Phoenix. I was home. I stayed home. I never went to the office. And I didn't want to be there. They didn't want me to be there. You kind of know this gig, right? So I worked at home. And it was a weekday, middle of the day. And we had big wood double doors, and there's this monstrous banging on the wood double doors, ringing the doorbell and then banging on the doors. And this was a recession, so the Avon ladies and the Jehovah's Witnesses were carpooling, and I've told that joke for 35 years. I've only ever got one complaint, and it was not from the Jehovah's Witness. It was from an Avon sales manager who I had just destroyed her sales force and self-esteem, and they'll never work again. And, just completely humorless. Today, you'd of course be banned from Facebook. So, because I know no one invited is coming over, I know this is an annoying pest. And I'm busy, I think I was on the phone, so I ignore it, confident that if you ignore a pest, generally it will go away, right? It will tire of trying to get you to pay attention and move on to the next house. So this goes on for a while, but I'm pretty stubborn, so I can ignore a lot. And next thing I know, this person has climbed over the back wall of my property, which by the way has shards of glass on top of to discourage this idea. And they've in the backyard, they've compassed the pool and the hot tub and stuff, and they are now banging on the sliding glass door, which they can see me through. So now you're kind of if you don't, so okay. So the message is, all of the shrubbery in your front yard is on fire. And the flames are licking at the stuff. And of course, not everybody was walking around with a cell phone then. So his message was, you call the fire department and I'll go back out there and work the hose. Now, at that second in time, he went from being a most annoying pest to a most welcome guest. Right? And the only thing that changed was right message, right time. Right? That's it. So, in our world, there's been a decade-long insanity of email delivery drops, open rates go down. So marketer who was sending 1 a day sends 2. Then his open rates go down further, so he sends 4. Then his open rates go down further, so he sends 8, until his open rate is 0 and he's sending 1 every 5 minutes, right? You can't really amp up being an annoying pest and get results. It's hard work. A super salesman could do it. Like I have a friend who I always say, you could give him a crate to stand on and put him in a bus station. And he will walk out of there having sold $5,000 coaching programs to every vagrant who's in the place. But he's a pretty rare fellow, right? Most people are not, they don't have the combination of that skill. I mean, I say I could get a check out of a rock. I'm that capable. But I don't want to. I want people to want to give me checks, right? And that's about this dynamic change of always asking yourself, is everything I'm doing here organized so that I'm showing up as a welcome guest? That's why we use FedEx a lot instead of direct mail, because interest level automatically goes up because it's FedEx.
Package,
yeah.
So let's talk about the quantum leap, okay? So again, let's get your pens out. There's a lot to digest here. But the quantum leap of money occurs when you decide you are not in your business. So again, what was happening to me? I was the only guitar teacher. I was the only person. A lot of you right now watching at home and here are doing everything yourself. And that's the problem, is that you're totally in your business. But the shift is to become, you're in the business of marketing your business. When I became in love with marketing, when I became obsessed with marketing, and when I became a master of marketing. And go write that down. That's one of your big goals this week is, in 5 days, you're going to be better at marketing by the time this finishes. You'll be better at marketing by the time this finishes even today, especially on day 5, okay? So again, it's not working in your business. Let me hear you at home. It's working on your business. Everybody at home, stay with me. Not working in the business, but what? Working on the business. And that's the big thing, guys. The second quantum leap is, again, you need to put most of your focus in it to get really good at it. And as a musician, that was easy for me because I'm a guy that's used to being in a room practicing for 5 hours a day. If you study Russell's story, and it was amazing to see him events and his history of wrestling. I mean, he's obviously a person that's put hours and hours and hours into studying the art and the sport of wrestling, okay? And he mastered that. So it's the same thing with marketing, guys. You got to master and put the time in to do what you want to do. But this can work even if you tried other systems, they failed. If you have zero marketing experience, if you hate marketing, which a lot of people do, and in any niche, in any location, which is why we've lined up all the guests this week to show you how it works for different places, different people. And again, remember, Dan's been doing this for 40 years. Now think about that for a second. If magnetic marketing did not work, he wouldn't have been able to do that for 40 years, and I would not have been studying with him for 14 and growing years for that as well. So you got to have a system, guys. System, which we're going to talk again about the ultimate marketing machine, which we call the UMM, to be a better whatever, musician, athlete, attorney, cook, whatever it is that you do. And you got to be dedicated to being the best at it, and not only being a marketer, but here's one thing, please write this down, take it to heart, guys. Hear me out. But not just being a marketer, but making the transition to being a magnetic marketer, because there's a huge difference between ad agencies and branding and going into being a magnetic marketer, and that's what changed my life and my business and everything else. So a big step towards that goal. Again, the whole reason we're here, the whole theme is to switch from being the annoying pest to welcome guest. The story Dan always tells is, let's say you're at a social event, okay, let's say it's a cocktail party, and this is from him, and you're going around the room, and you're shaking hands and passing out cards, or now with our phones, we don't really pass out cards, but you're trying to get contact information. Well, you're not going to close many sales. However, if you're at the event, and so our guest speaker, a good friend of mine, Vance Morris, can come later, and Vance says, hey, you need to go talk to that Marty guy, because he's got 3 schools, and he's grossing all this money, and he's coaching. You need to try to spend some time with him. You see what just happened? They're going to then be attracted to me versus saying, please leave me alone. I'm just trying to have a good time at the Super Bowl, whatever it is you're doing. So again, to dig deeper on that, the push pursuit marketing to attraction marketing, okay? So even more, if you're gonna become a welcome guest for your prospective clients, that would change your entire experience of doing business, all right? And Dan calls this fixing the first square on the marketing game board. So the real secret again, guys, is ask yourself this. I got 80 people working for me right now as I do this, 80. I run 7 companies, wife, daughter, 4 dogs, one of which got it yesterday, lucky, we got her back. Millions of dollars in cash flow, okay? But I'm able to come here from the East Coast, thousands of miles, be here in Idaho to work with you for 5 days. And because I'm able to make a system. So again, how am I able to do that? Again, it's all systems. And I run the systems that I learned from Dan Kennedy and magnetic marketing. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay? Some of you are saying, well, I've tried marketing and it just did not work. Or magnetic marketing, again, for 40 years, this has worked because it's worked for anybody and because it's based on principles. And principles do not change, okay? Now, again, your job is to attract, not to pursue, okay? So what most people do is they make a marketing system on a whim. Let's examine that for a second. Most people today in any business owner goes to work, has his or her coffee, does some bills, checks Facebook, goes to emails, and then they're just running the rest of the day. Then finally they remember about 6 o'clock, oh, we forgot to do this, we forgot to do this, forgot to do that. And that's marketing on a whim. Now, there is no way in the world I could have 80 employees, 7-figure gross, family, wife and kid, be able to come here, work with you, and all the great stuff we got planned to do that if I wasn't running systems. So what I like for you to write down is systems. And this specific writer downer, which is random acts of marketing equal random amounts of dollars. And that's straight from Dan. Random acts of marketing equal random amounts of dollars. So if you're living your life right now, and I see you guys on the Zoom, how many of you guys, show of hands, got kids? Maybe even at your home right now as you're doing this, okay? And they distract you, come in, that kind of thing. And so I get it. You're living kind of a random life. And you'll remember to finally get around to the Facebook campaign, or remember to get back to the email, or remember to get back to calling the prospects, or remember to get back to following up. How many people struggle with follow-up, okay? That's what's so awesome about ClickFunnels and the automation they do with that, okay? But again, random acts of marketing equal random amounts of dollars. So again, back to the very start of the subject and the goal for today, and we got some homework for you in a little bit. If you identify your ideal customer and stop chasing them, if you use the right media and stop using the wrong media, okay? How many of you guys have tried an ad this year and it didn't work out? I mean, all of us, right? So you got to get the media right as well. We're going to talk more about that. Your numbers will explode. So again, here's the hardcore stat on this, all right? Magnetic marketing and everything we're going to show you this week took me from $36,000 a year to almost $4 million and growing. And our gross is getting bigger and bigger every single year, okay? So again, you got to get there through systems. Now, this screen is crucial. So let's pause for a second on this. By curiosity, show of hands at home, who has seen this before? Anybody? Okay, so I'm not seeing many hands go up, so I really want to take a moment and stress to you how big this is, okay? This is Dan's 3 M's, the message, market, media, triangle. Write that down, please. The message, market, media, triangle. And there's only 3 parts, okay? And I'm going to go through my 3 M's. Message. So let's give you some examples. Well, some person asked in the chat, yes, if you are VIP, there will be a replay. We'll talk about VIP upgrade before I take off, and we'll talk about it a little later. But yes, if you want to watch all this again, because there's a ton of stuff, VIPs get lifetime replay, okay? But here's the message I made for you. We offer music lessons with fun, patient teachers who will teach you the music or you or your child want to learn, help any student to improve their confidence, self-esteem, even their grades in school. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of emotional triggers. It's going right to the moms we serve. And let's look at them, okay? So the market moms, all right? Now, dads, of course, are there too. But if you guys are like me, my wife is really the master of the house. And that's just the way that goes. Valerie's running that show, right? We've been together 21 years. And even more specifically, moms of kids ages 5 to 12. So those of you right now who are watching this or at home and with us, if you haven't really dialed in onto, okay, where is your customers, what are they thinking, and what are the real specific demographics, psychographics, and all that stuff, which can be part of your homework today. Location, who live in a 5-mile radius from my schools, are driving SUVs, they're involved with their kids. And this is a big one, big one, big one. You got mom groups, online, offline. We want to be where they are, okay? The market, people, they have their kids in other comparable activities, whether it's karate, dance, gymnastics, and that's a huge one I'm giving you right there because you want to then look at, okay, well, where are those channels? Where are those people at? And how can we team up with them, whether it's going on traffic or relationship or whatever it is. Market, moms who are concerned about their grades, confidence, and self-esteem, and this goes for grandparents as well, okay? So where the moms are and where they're not. Now, most of them, now some are, most of them are not in sports bars. So putting, flyers up in the bathroom is not really going to be a good fit to get to moms, and that's a joke, but true. But they are on social media, and they still have mailboxes. And think about that. A lot of people are, how many of you, with the show of hands at home, the Zoom in, are doing direct mail? Okay, so that's one of the big things we want to help you with, and we're going to do that, especially with some guests we got this week, that all of you have a mailbox. Even if it's a USPS box, you got a mailbox. All of our moms got mailboxes, and we want to be in those mailboxes. Other 3M examples, men's store. If you run a men's, so a good message could be, we make men's clothes that fit like a glove, will impress everyone you know, get them made in time for any and every event, okay? Message, and so the message is going to, but that's the message of this, the market, that should say market, sorry. The market's going to be men in a radius from the store that have shown a history of buying suits and the financial ability to buy the suits, okay? So back to a lot of these ideal customers, they are in sports bars, golf courses, business breakfast, networking clubs, etc., and on and on. Let's go to, I put down pediatric dentist. We got any dentists in here? We got any medical people at home? Any docs? Show of hands. We got some here in the room, okay? Message, we'll give your child the dental health they need in a fun, painless way that will make them beg to come to the dentist. The one that my daughter goes to, that's got like a zoo theme. They got giraffes and all this kind of stuff, and I always give her some goodie bag to take home, so that's a really important thing. Also, you should say market, so parents of young kids, okay? Offline and online campaigns that laser target parents with kids and the media they consume, all right? So, the big question is going to be, and your homework, for today is you want to be sure to go to. We're going to give you the link in a second, but you want to look at, who is your dream client? Who is your avatar? Who is the person you're looking for? And where are they? That kind of thing. So again, your customer avatar, okay? And that's going to be a big, big thing. All right. So. Magnetic marketing saves you money, saves you from wasting money on marketing. How many of you, show of hands at home, have felt bad about a marketing bill you put out, whether it was Facebook spend, Google AdWords spend, whatever spend, and you didn't get the ROI, the return on investment you wanted to? Anybody? Yeah, now I'm seeing the hands go up, okay? So let's get specific and dive a little deeper on how magnetic marketing saves you from wasting money on marketing, okay? Now, most marketers, again, will just blast the entire market. So let's back up to what I did. I gave you the mom example, okay? So if it's me, I'm not just blasting the entire towns that I serve, which I serve 3 different towns, okay? And I'm not just blasting the entire list of music schools around the world. I'm targeting to the specific ideal customer I want. So if you're really going to get this right this week, again, you got to dig deep on right now, okay? Don't stop blasting, because Dan has a favorite saying, and he said this to me years ago, and this is powerful. Dan said to me, Marty, he said, if you want to go broke quickly, mail to the entire list, okay? If you want to go broke quickly, take your direct mail and mail it to everybody. The difference is to say, no, this is a mom list. This is where they live. This is what they're thinking about, okay? I gave you the menswear list, okay? We're not going to just blast every man in a certain radius, because some of them, and another story Dan would always tell is, he had a client years ago, this is many, many years ago, probably going back to the 1970s. He said, Dan, my direct mail is not working. He said, okay, well, let's get in the car. And this time Dan had moved to Phoenix. So he's living in Phoenix, okay? They're going through, he's going around. He said, well, where'd you mail it to? He said, well, here. And they're driving through trailer parks, dodgy part of town. He says, well, are you surprised that you didn't get a response? Because again, the problem with that client was, all he heard was, maybe his message was right, maybe the offer was right, okay? But he blasted the entire market, and that's when things went south, all right? Is that we need to get away from that, and we're gonna show you again today and throughout the week on how to really laser dial that in for your ideal customer, for your avatar, okay? Now, again, remember the triangle, guys. That is your 3M triangle for message, market, media, okay? So magnetic marketers make maximum sales. Again, the 3, let's do it with me at home, okay? You reach the right customer, which is your market. You have the right hook, which is the message, and you have the right place, which is your media, all right? So today, again, let's talk more about market, because this is so crucial, because, you know, that's the whole thing that goes together is the ideal customers are in a market. How many of you guys like online now are selling something maybe through ClickFunnels, like a supplement or some kind of retail product or some kind of e-commerce? We got any of that going on at the Zoom at home? Okay. How many are you maybe doing like retail in an actual store? Okay. Or maybe you're doing services. I mean, we're going to service people, you know, doing plumbing, medical. Good. I see a lot of hands going up for that. Okay. So that's big. So we got a lot of service people here with us today. So that's going to be huge for your market, because if you're trying to market, so for example, Vance, it's going to come up in just a little bit, makes a high multiple in his carpet cleaning service. And he's got multiple businesses. He's going to tell you all about them. But the stat, if he doesn't mind me sharing, is he's making 4 times as much as all of the other carpet cleaners that are his competitors and the national chains, because he's found a way to identify the people, the market, with the right message, or he's going to do a good job, and he'll tell you about that, and with the right media to get that 4 times multiple. And that's how magnetic marketing saves you money. From number 1, magnetic marketing eliminates the waste of sending to the wrong people with the wrong place with the wrong message, okay? Because again, even if you had the world's best marketing message, like that guy that was going to trailer parks in Phoenix, if it's shouted on to dead ears where they can't afford to buy what you buy, or it's not the right fit, nothing's gonna work, all right? So again, your who is where all your leverage comes from. And what I did, guys, the way my life changed, the way my business changed, and the reason, here's a big one. Who here on the Zoom at home, how many of you guys have a lot of competition or feel that you have a lot of competition? And I'm gonna put my hand way up high, and I've got competition online and offline. So if you look at Guitar Center, if you look at Bach to Rock, if you look at Music and Arts, how many of you any coaches? You guys raise your hand if you're coaching out there. Everybody coaching? A few? Okay, good. I highly recommend coaching. Check into it. It's an amazing career. But any of you that are coaches will understand, Advance, of course, you know this, that every person on the block has got like a Facebook page, and by God, they got a coaching group. Okay? So competition. But knowing the who, I've mastered in the brick and mortar schools, okay, these moms, where they are, what they're thinking. Again, remember what I said earlier, they want their kids to have confidence, self-esteem, do great, all right? That's what they want. My coaching clients, these are not the ones that want 5 students. They want to be like Jelko. They want 5,000 students. They want a better life. They want to go on vacation. They want to go to Disney. They want to do all the great stuff, okay? So the way you're going to do that is zero in on your high probability prospects and ignore the low probability. Let me say that one 2 times, okay? You've got to zero in on your high probability prospects and ignore the low probability, all right? Because when you know who you're speaking, when you're speaking to them, you can craft the right message and speak directly to them. So free reports are a big deal. Anybody with show of hands at home using free reports? Okay, now that's a shame, all right? So please, this is a writer downer. You've got to start using free reports. If you want some inside baseball, we do ours offline and on, because I'm serving a smaller niche. I mean, as you'd imagine, the music school niche is a smaller one, okay? Even with the brick and mortar schools, or inside baseball, we send out hard copy stuff because there's actually studies that show. Now check this out. I've done the research by going through this whole system, and what I learned is that studies show that moms prefer print. So we're sending them offline stuff as well, and some of the coffee table, that kind of thing. But when you know your who, you're speaking right to them like I'm doing with moms, or I'm doing right to my avatars with my music coaching clients, that's when magnetic marketing starts to work. Your 3 M's come together, and again, it all goes back to the start of this morning and your homework for today, which is identifying your ideal customer, identifying your avatar. That's got to be the thing, guys. When you're at home tonight and you're on your break, you're doing whatever, that's what I want you to think about nonstop is Who are they? And how can we get better at reaching them to make your sales? Okay? So I want you to go to your day one homework link. So please write this down. You're going to use these daily. There's an awesome homework page. There's a great video from Darcy Warres, our trainer, on there. Lots of instructions, and it's really going to help you to take the next step and really get this going for you. Okay, so go to magneticmarketingchallenge.com/day1. magneticmarketingchallenge.com/day1. Okay? Now, as some of you put in the chat, you know what I mean? Absolutely, there's lifetime replay. So I want to go through what's going to happen because we have something special for you today. And there's a lot of special things we got prepared for you to help you really implement this and to make it awesome and to make it work, because we appreciate you having the time to be with us to make it work. So we're going to be doing today, guys, we have our guest Vance Morris coming up. Then we got our guest Dr. David Phelps. Then we're going to take a very short break, just like minutes, and we're going to go to an hour Zoom for live Q&A to get your questions answered. So all the stuff in the chat, we got good news. Now, we're not going to get to every single question, of course. We'll get to as many as we can. Our guests are going to do it. I'm going to answer questions. Vance is going to answer questions. Dr. Dave Phelps is going to answer questions. It's going to be awesome. But this is big for the training to then get your personal attention, okay? So if you upgrade to VIP, you'll get it for free. Now, this is how this works. VIP is normally $197. You can get access to the special Zoom today, like I said, with me, Dr. Phelps, with Vance, but it's only for VIPs to upgrade to get their questions answered. And we get this comment all of the time, which is how much people love the VIP, because that's the most valuable benefit. Because if you look at the chat right now, the chat is on fire. I mean, everybody's got questions, answers. So let's get to your questions. Come Zoom with us. Enjoy the two guest speakers. I'm about to take off, segue to them, but I'm going to be here for another hour, and we're going to do this every day to be with you to get your questions. It's the most valuable benefit, all right? And again, as I said earlier, this is the way you get lifetime replays, because as you can imagine, how much we've already covered in this first session, how much you're going to go over with the guests. We've got a big week ahead, and you're going to want to watch the replays, have in your archive. VIPs get lifetime replays of the challenge. Now, there's something else very awesome for you all, which is this big box, beautiful box right here, okay? This is called the most incredible free gift ever. And the slang for it is, which a lot of people do, is called the Mifkey, okay? Now, inside of this, there's all kinds of great stuff. And let me make sure I go through one by one, because there's a lot to cover. Now, you're going to get in this, and I've already touched a lot on it with the triangle stuff, a copy of Dan Kennedy's Magnetic Marketing book, which is a must for your library, for you. It's a quick read, but it's essential for what you're trying to do, okay? Now, this is huge. You're going to get the 74 funnel swipe file. If you see the size of this book, all kinds of great stuff you can model, use. It's amazing. So you definitely want to get a hold of the 74 from Funnel U swipe file book, okay? We're not done yet. Now, this is awesome. This is big, too. You're going to get access to 3 of Dan Kennedy's most amazing courses, his Renegade Time Management. Again, remember the stats, guys. 80 people working for me, millions of dollars, wife and family. If I wasn't good at time management, how to work? But I learned my time management from Dan. And I'm able to share that and coach it with my clients as well to help them with theirs. The Midas Touch Marketing and Selling, which is a big one, even though it's a funny title. The third one is actually my favorite and did the most for me, which is Dan Kennedy's Brass Balls Factor. It's an awesome course. It really helped me to become who I am today. 30 days of the No BS newsletter. I actually write the opening monologue for these. These are fantastic. It's got lots of great stuff from Russell and from Dan, so you definitely want to get this. And I read mine, even though I work on it cover to cover every month, so definitely want to check that out, okay? So all this stuff you get as well. And here's how this works. And normally this is $197, but I want you to get it today for free, okay? Now, you have 2 options. Option 1, you can go down to the bottom, pay $197, and you can get it. But if you want it for free, this is how that works. You're gonna go and get it for free. It's gonna keep coming, and you're gonna get billed $97 a month. But if you don't like it, you can cancel it anytime. You still keep your VIP access, you keep the lifetime swipe files, and you keep all the more for free. So again, go ahead. You can either option A, pay the $197, you get your stuff. But if you want it for free, go ahead and do the VIP upgrade. Free is the VIP upgrade. It'll keep coming. $97 a month, cancel it anytime, but I'm telling you how much it's done for me. See how passionate I am about this. It's been awesome for me, and you still keep your VIP access, swipe files, and everything. And you're gonna come Zoom with us for an hour and get your personal questions answered. I want to see you on the Zoom in just a little bit, okay? So right now, We have two amazing guest speakers, which are going to reinforce what magnetic marketing has done for them and how it's helped them, because we want to showcase this week that all of you can do this. That's the biggest thing, is don't think you can't. You can do this. It works in every industry. It has worked for 40 years, and it's just awesome. So get ready for a special treat. Let's welcome to the stage from Deliver Service Now, Mr. Vance Morris.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Good to see you.
Too. So tell them a little bit about Deliver Service Now. Especially you got this nice button on your
like
jacket
that
here.
button?
So I do like that button. So
Right.
and you know, I've known you for a while. You actually spoke at my event for my top members at Disney this past year. We almost got crushed in a tornado or whatever that thing was at Epcot, but we made it. So we're here. Which you do a lot, and you've done a lot, from your carpet cleaning businesses to your coaching, to your new foray into mold, inspection business. So how long have you been a student of Dan Kennedy?
2010, so it's at 13
Yes,
years?
we're about neck and neck.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So 14, 13, you know what I mean? Actually, I take it back. Mine's 15. You know what I mean? So, but we're so excited you're here.
I'm excited.
And are we ready? All right, guys. Well, listen, Vance, take it away. And
Thank you, sir.
for
I
being
appreciate
here.
it. All right. Well, hey, out there in Netherworld. My name is Vance Morris. I appreciate you joining me. And Russell, thank you so much for having me here and trusting me with your folks. So yes, as Marty mentioned, I used to work for the Mouse back in the late 90s, 10 years. Not something that is for the faint of heart. Mickey is a very, very difficult person to work for. And after 10 years, I realized that, this was the beginning of the end for me of having a job, because I found out I just don't like to be told what to do, which is probably why we are all entrepreneurs and our own boss. After getting, I spent another 15 years in the hospitality world, and this phenomenon kept happening to me, which was I was getting fired. I like to say it's being laid off, but I don't think that does it justice. So after a couple of layoffs or getting fired, I decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own business. And what other business should all kids growing up, every teenager dreams of doing this. I started a carpet cleaning business. Now, the great thing about carpet cleaning is that it's very, very basic. You go in, you clean, you leave, you take the money, and away you go. Don't we wish that it was all that easy? Because the thing is that without the right marketing, without the right message, as Marty was alluding to, is that you can't grow a business. Now, I decided to choose a franchise because I had no idea how to clean a carpet. I barely vacuum. So why on earth would I do this? Now, the problem with most businesses is that their marketing sucks. Truly, truly. And I'm going to show you some examples in a little bit about the marketing that my own franchisor gave me, and they had nothing to do with carpet cleaning. I didn't get it. They put up a picture of a furry dog, and like that's supposed to sell carpet cleaning. Didn't work. So thank God I met Dan. But here's, we all have that backstory. And this is a picture of what's called a arteriovenous malformation. And in 2007, when I was starting my carpet cleaning business, we were supposed to live on my wife's income. She was a regional for one of those big coffee firms. And then I was going to get the business up and running. Unfortunately, she had this AVM inside of her head, and the darn thing exploded. So she spent 11 days in the neuro ICU, which is usually where they put the 85-year-old people that are getting ready to die. So, of course, we were very nervous. And the reason I tell you this is because our income literally went from high six figures down to zero overnight. So yes, I have that sob story when lost the house, went bankrupt and all that crap. But you know what? If you're like me and you have that tenacity, that driving force, that will to get things done, none of that matters. So, and by the way, she's fine, by the way. She got this thing all fixed up, and we're moving along. So, and actually, when I told Dan Kennedy about this, he goes, oh, don't worry, I make everybody's wife's brain explode at one point or another. So, felt like I was in good company. So I was sitting in my van one day, my carpet cleaning van, and this was kind of the day it all changed. And I had a half-eaten Big Mac in the seat next to me, and I had a truckload of really dirty, nasty water. And I said, "How did you get here? I mean, you're smarter than this. Why are you just sitting here in a carpet cleaning van?" And I was like, I'm going to make it this year, or I'm packing it all in and I'm going to go get one of those 3-letter words, a job. And so I figured, I don't want to do that ever again. So I went and I sought out the best person I could find, the guy who was the marketing god of marketing gods to carpet cleaners, and that was my friend Joe Polish. And this is Joe and I on stage. Oh, God, this is probably 10 or 12 years ago. He had already cut off the ponytail, but I had a little fur on my face. And when I went to this event, I almost didn't go because I knew all of Joe's products were $2,000. I didn't have $2,000. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go. The event's free. Maybe I'll learn something. Well, you know what? In the 4 hours I was at this event, I learned more about marketing my business than I did in the last 10 years. Absolutely amazing. And the thing is that Joe kept talking about this guy, Dan. He goes, Dan says this, Dan says that. And I said, well, I'm sorry, Joe, but I'm going to go find this Dan guy because I want to get it right from the horse's mouth. But one of the things that he set me up for was creating goals for the business and how to get out of the truck, get off of the truck. That was my big challenge. So one of the things we did, and my first goals with magnetic marketing, was increasing my revenue. We got that done. Get off the truck. That was huge. Increasing my job average. Marty talked about how we charge almost 4 times more than the closest carpet cleaner in price in my entire area. It can be done. And also when you do that, you get rid of the blood and cash sucking clients. They just seem to disappear when you raise your prices. Increased time with family. I mean, similar to everybody in this room. I mean, I don't work because I like to work. I work because I've got 4 kids, I've got a wife, I've got a dog. I like to go paddleboarding. But if I wasn't bringing in money, I would not have time for any of that. Increasing time with my family, it's still a little bit of a challenge, but all is well in that neighborhood. So before magnetic marketing, and before doing everything that Marty just talked about, I did have my share of cleaning carpets in questionable homes, in questionable neighborhoods. In the carpet cleaning industry, we call them rat nasties. And, they were not going to make me rich. There was no way that these people were going to make me rich because all they competed on was price. They're like, well, how many for 3 rooms? I'm like, well, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Well, the other guy said $99. I'm like, well, I'm not your guy. And just for a frame of reference, my guys now, they don't get out of the truck for anything less than $180. So for all of you people that see those carpet cleaning ads out there, 3 rooms for $99. Well, you know what you're getting? You're getting garbage cleaning. But after magnetic marketing, after I implemented all of the stuff that I learned from Joe, that I learned from Dan, I was able to pick and choose the clients I wanted to work with. Imagine being able to pick and choose, not having to take whatever was coming, but to be able to pick and choose people you were able to work with. So what did I do? And I'm going to zing through this fast because the list is like 20 things long. But I implemented multiple 2, 3, 4-step lead generation things that were personalized, multi-step, multimedia, postcards, letters, emails. Implemented a show up like no one else does plan. Now, here's something that is all about marketing. How you show up to your client is going to really set the tone for the prices you get to pay. And if you can show up in a different way than you don't have to be a carpet cleaner. You don't actually have to physically show up. Maybe it's how your postcard shows up. Maybe it's how you show up on your website. But how you show up sets the tone. Created consumer awareness guys. Yeah, I was on Facebook. We did all that fun stuff. Created blogs, established continuity programs. Oh my God, what an idea. Created memberships. If you don't have a membership, you really should. And if a carpet cleaner can have a membership, You guys can have a membership. Redesign my newsletter. Yeah, you got to go into the mailbox. Marty said, everybody's got a mailbox. Most of them are empty. So get yourself in there because your competitors are not there. Did lumpy mail campaigns, and I'll be able to show you some examples of stuff I did like that. So what did all this get me? Well, got me a little bit of notoriety. I am the longest reigning marketer of the year for GKIC, No BS, and now Magnetic Marketing. The secret there is that in 2015, I'll let you on the inside baseball, 2015 was the last year they ran the Marketer of the Year campaign. And then they didn't run it again until 2019, so I just claimed those 3 years as mine. That's embellishment. That's not, you know what I mean. So what have these systems, what has my marketing machine allowed me to do? It's allowed me to put one kid through college, my oldest son, he's 23. I've got 2 other little ones who are now not that little, 15 and 16. I have 4 kids. We actually get to go and have fun. Here we are at the Billy Joel concert in Manhattan. And there is my darling bride with her brain intact. So when you have machines in place, when you have systems in place, they allow you the freedom to enjoy things. I have not missed a soccer practice. I haven't missed a ballet recital. None of that stuff. I have been there for the family, all because I've got systems in place. And similar to Marty, all of my bricks and mortar businesses are running by themselves right now, and I get to stand here and chat with you guys. Which led to my next business, which is a kind of information and coaching business. And I have this is a rough job, and I don't know how you're going to get it, but the roughest job I have right now is I actually take people to Disney for 3-day boot camps. Who would like to have that job, right? Not a bad deal. Look, I see Vance going up. Yeah, let's go to Disney, man. So yeah, it's a lot of fun when we do that. So see, systems give you freedom. And then that freedom allows you to do the things that you really love. And similar to Marty, I don't know if you can tell, but I kind of like this stuff. So where am I right now? I have 3 bricks and mortar businesses. I have a mold remediation company, an oriental rug washing facility, and a carpet cleaning business. Those 3 things I spend all of about 90 minutes a week in. I go down, I collect the checks, I make the deposits, I kiss a few babies, and poof, I'm done with it, which gives me all the time to work in my coaching business right now, which is Experience Service Systems. So I get to take the kids to school every day. I cook dinner because my wife can't. Schedule family first. One of the key things, and you'll find this probably in Renegade Millionaire, is that you got to have a schedule for yourself. So for me, I like to get up early. I'm up at 4:30. At some point during the day, I take a 90-minute nap, and then my workday is done at about 3 so that I can do everything that I like to do. Excuse me. You guys want to see all this stuff I'm talking about? Yay! All right, well, let's get it on then. All right, so before magnetic marketing, what I had, I don't know if you guys can see this, or should I hold it up? Yes, are we good? All right. Hey. So this is the picture of the Flurry dog that sells absolutely no carpet cleaning. There's nothing on here that says anything about carpet cleaning. Same thing with this one. Am I behind? Are we good now? Oh, there it is. Great. So, furry dog. How is that supposed to sell carpet cleaning? Another furry dog. How is that supposed to do anything for carpet cleaning? Absolutely nothing. These things cost a fortune, and they brought in no business. So, what happens when you implement magnetic marketing? Well, you know what? I'll tell you, right now my holiday ad looks something like this. And it's got a headline. And it says, is your home going to stand up to her nitpicking? And then you've got the picture of, this really grumpy old lady. This old lady, by the way, it's you can get this picture online. She's made me probably close to $500,000. Every time I put this lady's picture out there, she does it. But what happens is you create marketing assets. And I know Marty's going to be talking about it. And one of the things I want to show you, and I'm going to do this in front of this camera, is this will blow your mind. So for years, I would get my coupons in the newspaper wrapped in blank newsprint. Look just like this. And I was like, I called up my sales rep at the paper, and I'm like, dude, how can I print something on that? I mean, I'm tired. This has got to cost you money to send this piece of paper out. Can I do that? And he goes, well, I don't know. Let me check with my bosses. And they said yes. So I instantly became my own section in the newspaper. So I had something on the front, and then I had my Oriental rug cleaning on the back. And it's all direct response stuff. The headline, again, would you park your car on your Oriental rug? Well, see, and what does that headline do? Well, first, the headline says, if you don't have an Oriental rug, the rest of this is nothing for you to look at. No need. And then there are multiple response mechanisms in here. They can call to make an appointment. They can also call or go to the website to download their free report. Let's see, what else did we have? So when we talk about keeping your clients and doing shock and awe and lumpy mail, yes, if a carpet cleaner can do this, you can do it. Trust me. So one of the first iterations I had of my shock and awe package, this was mailed FedEx directly to high-end homes in my area. And inside of it, we'll open it up real quick, was our newsletter. Yay, everybody should have a newsletter. 2 of our consumer awareness guides or free reports. One is, and you don't have to get fancy with these. Listen to this. How to preserve the value of your rugs. Geez, that was sexy, but it was easy. We got it done, we got it out there. Of course, it came with a sales letter, and then we even had a little lift here, which is a $100 gift card that they could use any way they want in our business. And this is just one of the things. So all of the stuff that you put together, you can then reuse and put into a shock and awe box. They can all be reused. There's no reason to not reuse stuff. And once you've invented it, you don't need to reinvent it a second time. So once you've attracted your new clients, now you gotta hold on to them. So the other marketing machine that I have in place is my client retention machine. So we have something like oversized postcards that go out that are giant savings certificates. Now this is cool. All right, so this is worth the price of admission right here. So if you have a CRM, which if you don't, you should, and we were tracking, most carpet cleaners will say, carpet people will clean every 12 months. Well, I started looking at our numbers and I was like, no, that's not really true. So instead of sending out 12-month reminders, we started sending out 9-month reminders, 10-month reminders, 11-month reminders. And what we did was we accelerated our revenue. Instead of waiting until month 12, all that money we got in month 12, we moved to month 9. See how this works? Another thing you can do, and I highly recommend, is use the seasons for your marketing. And this, again, comes into your client retention machine. I love using this card. Has not changed in over 11 years. Okay, it's my dog with a turkey jabbed on the back of it. And this holiday season, don't be fooled by imposters. Unchanged, with the exception of the expiration dates on back. Using the news. Now, some people call it newsjacking. I highly encourage you to use the news because that's where you're going to get information and ideas for your marketing. So be careful when you do this. Because in this case, I went both left and right. So I was making fun of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and it says, "Make America clean again." Finally, something we can all agree on. Or back when that New Deal thing was coming out, I have the Green New Deal, which is save $999,999,000. Why wait for a new Green Deal that's going to cost years and $1 trillion? I can offer you a deal right now. Finally, the last machine that I've got in place is what we call the Lost Client Activation Machine. And in that are postcards, emails, and things like that. And just to show you, they don't have to be pretty. Okay, they're not. This is not a pretty piece, but it looks like a yellow lined sheet of paper. Again, it's got a headline. What would it take you to get you to call me again? Excuse me. All done in really bad handwriting font, chicken scratch, luck guarantee, offers, everything. Mailed it. This goes out, if I haven't heard from somebody in over 2 years, they go into the machine that I call the client reactivation machine. So, like I said, if a carpet cleaner can do all this stuff, an attorney can do it, a doctor can do it, there isn't anybody under the sun that can't take the lessons that you're going to learn over the next 5 days, create your own machines, your own systems, and be able to profit from it. So thank you so much. Russell, thank you for having me. Marty, you're up, sir. Thank you. Great seeing you.
All right, we got lots more awesome stuff planned for you guys. Okay, so next up, another good friend of mine is Dr. David Phelps. Dr. David Phelps is based in Texas, and very interesting career path, and get to know him. And he was a dentist for many years, and then he sold his practices and has now transitioned. And he's going to take us more about it into advising dentists who want to have exit strategies, real estate investment, all kinds of great stuff. Just an amazing, amazing entrepreneur, and we're so glad that he is with us today. So, David, can you hear me?
Marty, I can. Can you hear me?
Good morning. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, quick question for you. Like I said, you've not been friends for a long time. So what year did you enter the world of Dan Kennedy?
About 2005, Marty, and it was through reading one of Dan's books, which is kind of a clue, but it was one of his books. And to your point, to Vance's point, when I read one of his books, I think it was No BS, Ruthless Time Management,
right.
He just spoke to me, that small business entrepreneur, right, who was struggling in so many areas of trying to elevate my business, my dental practice, and really to have more time. So that's where I entered. But I'm gonna give a little bit more of that story. But right. That's where you and I met.
Thanks for being here. Round of applause, guys. Dr. David Phelps.
All right. Well, thanks so much. It's exciting, a privilege and honor for me to be here. When Marty and Darcy reached out to me before the end of the year and asked me to do this, I said, sure. And here's why. I get nothing for this. I'm not an employee. I'm not on commission. I'm just giving back the same way so many people gave back to me. Those of you who are part of this tribe, this community, this magnetic marketing community, you're in a great place. Those of you who are here for the first time, maybe just jumping in to see what it's all about, I will tell you, if a doctor, and I'll give you my backstory, if a doctor can do this, anybody can do it. And what I mean by that is not that we're not all intelligent, not that I didn't go through a lot of school, I did, but it was very, very specialized training in one particular area, and it didn't leave me a lot of options. Not a bad thing. We all start in life trading time for dollars at some point, right? We get training, we get vocational skills, we get licenses, degrees, we maybe go into business, maybe you're working for somebody, doesn't matter. You're in a great place, and I want to emphasize community. It's like a reunion for me coming back here. And actually, Marty, I have one regret. I'm not there in Boise. You gave me the opportunity. I didn't take it, but you've got Vance there. You've got Ben Glass coming up, Stephen Oliver, Gene Kelly, of course, Darcy, Russell Brunson, so many people that we go back so many years. And I emphasize community because this is where I learned the craft to be a better marketer. And I love marketing. You mentioned, Marty, I think that some people that may not like marketing appreciate marketing because even if you don't like it, somebody can help you do it. So as I said, with connecting to magnetic marketing and Dan, it was back in 2005 through the books. I didn't make it to a conference, a super conference, until about 2009. 2010, I was sitting back in the audience and I was watching from the stage a gentleman named Marty Fort, and he was doing his presentation for Market of the Year. Vance Morris just showed you he won it in 2015. Well, Marty Fort was presenting in 2010, and I was so taken back by his, number one, his authenticity about who he was, and I could tell he wasn't just selling me on something, that he actually had in his heart what he had learned through being a part of the community. And I met him in the hallway afterwards, and we just became fast friends. The next year, yes, the very next year, with his help, Marty's help, and other people in the community, I also competed for Market of the Year and won the Professional Practice Market of the Year. My wife wouldn't even come to the meeting. I mean, that's how afraid she was that I was going to get up there and fail. Because, see, I had no speaking skills at all. None. I mean, nothing. I mean, you think about it being a dentist. I mean, how many you like going to the dentist and have your dentist talk to you? Well, so I didn't, right? I just did my work. So that's where I started. And what I want to give to you is that I'm going to tell you my story and how I transitioned my life. But I started with magnetic marketing back when I was in practice, and I used some of the things that you saw Vance show. I used a lot of those in my practice, and they were very helpful. But that's not the end of the story. I got to work with Dan personally about the last 7-8 years ago. Now, when I first came to the first conference, of course, Dan didn't know me. I'd never spoken to Dan. Dan was just this guy that just spoke from the mountaintop, and everybody listened because his principles go back over 40 years. But at one of the conferences I was there, this was a few years later, I caught Dan in the hallway, and I just wanted to be part of his titanium group. And I said, Dan, what's it take? Could I get inside your group? And he very nicely, kind of in a way, said it nicely. He said, you're not ready. But he said, who are you working with? And I mentioned some people right in the community, no BS marketing community, people I was working with. He said, you know what, you're in the right place. Stay where you are. Keep doing the work. Well, about 3 years later, I applied again. And at that time, Dan accepted me. Dan has to keep the caliber of his group high, right? He has high standards, and I appreciate that to this day. So what I'm telling you is that a dentist who has no skill sets at all in marketing, I have an entrepreneurial bent inside me, but it was really the community that brought this out and gave me the opportunity to transition to a different life, which I'll go through here with you. I'll see if these slides will catch up here. Okay, they are. They're moving fast. Good. All right, so why me? So I give you a little bit of my backstory of where I met Marty and how I connected with Dan. There's adversity. I'm sure every one of you have gone through adversity in your life. Maybe you're going through some right now. That was my turning point to an opportunity. But sometimes when you're in the depth of that adversity, you don't see it. Meaning that we all have a story. You have a story, and at the time, I couldn't identify my story. Well, I was too thick in the weeds of it, trying to get through the adversity and figure out where I was going to go next. But being a part of the magnetic marketing community, Planet Dan, as we've called it for so many years, was what really inspired me. And it was really the people I connected with, the people like you're hearing from this week, that we kind of ran together. I mean, some were way ahead of me, some came after me. I see people here today that are also part of this challenge that I love seeing in the chat and on the screen. Again, it's a community. The magnetic marketing principles were what transformed my life from where it was. It wasn't a bad life, but there were situations in it that weren't working, to a life that honestly I love today, and I'm so inspired to be here to talk to you about it. That's why I'm here, is really just to inspire you no matter where you are, and thinking that, well, gee, this seems like a long shot for me. How can I do this? These people are also successful. We all started at a starting point where we had very little, and I'm going to show you some of that. So this is 2010. This was my mastermind, my coaching group in 2010. Yeah, can you see how big it was? Yeah, a loaded room, right? Big screen TV. No, you can see in 2010, this was it. We had approximately 16 people in my early meetings, but this is my starting out of the gate. Remember, I came to my first conference in 2010, competed the next year in 2011. So I'm starting this out. I'm just testing the waters to see what can I do differently outside of my chosen profession of being a dentist. This is last year, 2022. So we're 12 years later. We have over 110 members in our community now. We meet 3 times a year. We have over 250 people who attend altogether at these meetings. So I'm showing you from beginning to end. Now, there's a lot that happened in between, and I don't have time to show all that to you today, but I want to tell you that being a part of the No BS marketing was a key. No question of key. I wouldn't be here talking to you today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today without having invested my time early on in reading the books and being a part of the community, getting the newsletters. That was my first start, and very quickly upgrading to the diamond level so that I could have more access to Dan, which is what I wanted all along. But you have to work your way up. You have to pay to play and invest your time to do it. I've now since authored 5 books. Now, I've never authored a book before in my life before I got to magnetic marketing and under Dan. But 5 books. This is one way to establish credibility and authority. It's not the only way, but it's one way. It's part of what magnetic marketing will show you. I would not have had a clue as to how to do this or why it was important, how to do it without being in the community. It's done a lot for me to be able to produce these books, and it's part of lead generation and authority in my market. So as I mentioned, I came out of the gates as a young person going to school and getting my license in dentistry. I was the technician, relatively high-paid technician. That's what we're trained to do in life, right? You want to trade your time for dollars at the highest level possible. The problem with that is the constraints on our freedom. To make more money, you generally have to work longer and harder hours. I'm not against working hard, but working smarter is what I learned through Dan and magnetic marketing, working smarter and elevating myself from being in the business, as Marty said earlier, to working on a business and being a place that I was doing the things, working with the clients, the customers in the way that I most wanted to, and not doing the way that society said I had to do, because we're told there's a certain way to do things, and this is the way you have to do it. Well, if you're part of this community, you know it's the contrarian group. We're the renegades. Dan's a renegade. Everybody here's a renegade in a very good way, because you've got to change what I call herd mentality, the group think that we grow up with. From well-meaning people, teachers, parents, all people tell us this is the way you do it. There is a better way, and you're here. And if you're just here at the beginning, I am so happy for you, because you're going to get this. So I'm trading time for dollars, and then I get my wake-up call. This is my daughter, Jenna, at about age 12. Now, subsequent to this time in her life, at age 2.5, she was diagnosed with high-risk leukemia. She battled that with the doctors and the medical care for the next 3 years. It was hell on earth. It was something you never prepare for. Those of you who have gone through health challenges, either yourself, family members, you know what I'm talking about. It is difficult, and this is long. This is not surgical, get in and get out of the hospital. This is 3 years in the making of going through this. Unfortunately, the marriage to her mother didn't survive, but Jenna did, and that's the blessing. So a lot of lessons came out of that, which I could tell you on another day. But the point is, that was my wake-up call. This was a turning point for me. Jenna had to subsequently have a liver transplant. She was in end-stage liver failure at age 12. That picture in the upper left, a week before she went in for her liver transplant. End-stage liver failure, all the chemotherapy. She had to have medication for treating epileptic seizures. All that was too toxic for her liver. And at age 12, she had the liver of a 75-year-old alcoholic, right? But she's only 12. So by the grace of God, she gets a liver donated by another family who donated the liver from their child who lost theirs, and we're forever grateful for that. Jenna in her bed. The reason I put that in the hospital, that's where I really have the time to really think about, where am I going in my life? Yes, I can continue to be a dentist. I can make the money. I can be financially responsible. But what did I really need the most of at that point? I needed time. I need to buy back time. That's what I need more than anything. I don't need to make more money. More money wasn't going to solve the problem. For me, wanting to spend time with my daughter, who I'd almost lost, several times now through cancer and now liver transplant. How much more time could I get? You all may have or have had a turning point in your life where the pressure on you exerted you to make some action. I couldn't have been in a better place when all this was going on, with being around the community of magnetic marketing, Dan Kennedy and everybody else who was part of that tribe, leading the way, people who had already been there, done it. Social proof, this really works. No business is different. If you want to make a change in your life, your business, create an outside business besides where you are, it's all doable. You've just got to get involved. I'll fast forward and tell you that Jenna survived all this. It wasn't easy. She had some setbacks, but she turned 30 last year. Yeah, 30. I can't believe it. And she's at one of my conferences, she actually wrote a book on how to survive what she did going through her life in her first 21 years. So what am I going to do? I decided to sell my practice because I wanted time with Jenna. Fortunately, I have been involved in real estate at a very young age. Coming out of college, I got involved in real estate. So I'm running dentistry and real estate side by side. So I had enough capital, enough cash flow to get by, to buy the time back I wanted. So I sold the practice, knowing I could always go back. I could always go back and do dentistry again. It was Jenna's health, not my health. But I thought, I've got this time right now, this margin of time that I never had before. Spending time with Jenna, number one, was the goal. But secondarily, do I need to rush right back to dentistry, or could I try some of the ideas I've been getting out of magnetic marketing? No BS. Dan Kennedy. Could I take these to a different level? Could I create a different business? Who could I help? Well, I'm a dentist. Maybe that's a good place to start. So with dentistry, there are a lot of dentists. There's over 200,000 dentists. You might think, well, that's a great market. As Vance said earlier, you could just go mail to all of them, except Dan would say, if you mail to all of them, you're going to go broke fast. You don't have enough money to do that. So I think about, well, who do I market to? There's young dentists just coming out of school. They need a lot of help, right? Because they're just learning the aspects of business and clinical efficiency. I could work with them. I could work with the next tier up, 30 to 40. I could work with mid-career, 40 to 55. I could work with what I call enders, 55 plus. So there's different niches within this particular vertical, which we call professional practice, which we call dentistry. I could focus down on one of those, right? Because the more focused you are on speaking to a specific avatar, that's your homework for today, by the way. Who's your avatar? Getting very specific on the demographics and the psychographics. If those don't make sense to you, you're in the right place because you'll learn what those mean. But getting specific as you can, still having enough of an audience to market to is important. But secondarily, I want to make sure that they could pay for the problem that I could fix. That's what Dan calls price elasticity. The bigger the problem you can solve for a client business that can pay to have that problem solved, the more you can charge. So that's a clue. When you're looking at your avatar, you don't have to work with an affinity group. You can learn to work with an affinity group. There's people that have worked in dentistry and helped dentists in many ways, and they're not dentists. So you don't have to be one. I just happen to be one and decided, what can I do here? So my next question was, one thing I want to leave you with is, if you do what everyone else does, you're going to get what everyone else gets. And that's really average and mediocre. And I've never been that kind of person. I'm sure you're not either. So that's why I'm a part of this tribe. I want to do things differently. So in looking at that, I thought, well, where can my focus be? Because that's what they'll teach you here in magnetic marketing, to get very specific and differentiate yourself. You've got to have a focal point. You've got to determine who that avatar is. What is the big idea that you can bring to your specific market, your avatar, that no one else is solving? So I gave you the list of what I could have done. I could do clinical efficiency, right? They need help there. Practice management. Well, I'd had many years in practice management. I can help with practice management. Marketing. Yes, I love marketing, and every dentist, every business owner wants new leads for new clients, patients, customers, clients. So no question I could have helped there. Or just making more money, more profit, reducing overhead, more efficiency in operations. But then I thought, what did I need when I was at the crisis with my daughter, Jenna? What did I need? I needed more time. So how can I incorporate what I know about dentists, because I know their psychology, I am one of them, with what I learned in creating multiple streams of income, in this case, specifically in real estate? How can I combine those two? It took over a year for me to get it, because I had to spend time, invest time in magnetic marketing with specific people that coached me, helped me along this path to figure this out. I didn't do it by myself. It would have taken a lot longer, maybe never gotten there. So what are some of the keys here? Marty said, Vance has said, it's a system, having a methodology. You need to have a system and methodology to do this, a replicable system. And so what I look at is, again, going back to the avatar, your homework for today, identify your ideal customer, get help here in this community. That's a very important step. Don't take that lightly. Do the homework, bring it back to the challenge, have people look at it within this community, dial it in. Test, test, test. You'll never get it perfect out of the gate, but you want to just be starting somewhere, and then you get feedback from the market. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Next one would be the specific message to your customer. Again, Marty and Vance have already talked about that, but once you know who the avatar is, you know what's keeping them up at night, what problem you're wanting to solve. Now you're defining and delivering a specific message that turns you from being that annoying pest where you're just trying to I want to sell my solution to a problem that you may not have. Once I know who that avatar is and what their problem is that I'm going to solve, now I can be very specific. Now they're going to welcome me in because I'm speaking to them. I'm speaking to them in this case because I'm buying them back their time. I don't go into practice management or marketing the practice. Other people do that. I help them buy back their time. And by the way, one of the key elements I found was there's a lot of times resistance by a spouse to their husband, or it could be the other way around. Could be the female is the driver. There's resistance to try something new because it's looked at as an expense. When I talk to spouses about buying back time for them and their husband, more time with the family, guess who's on board? Yeah, that spouse is usually the biggest skeptic. They're on board. So figuring out that message and how you bring them in, you've got to fulfill on it. Can't be empty promises. But if you've got a system and a process to do that, you've got magnetic marketing at your whim. Direct response. You're going to learn that if you haven't already. Direct response, getting them to raise their hand, not necessarily even make a first sale. Marty talked about free report. Bringing them in to your funnel, to your nurturing system, and getting them to take action on one thing. Now you start the relationship. Now you have what's called the follow-up. So once they raise their hand, they take the first step forward. They get some contact information. You deliver them something of benefit, of value to them. Now you start the relationship. This is the fun part for me. This is the psychology. Now, I don't get in the weeds of all the technology. That's beyond me. But there's people that are very proficient in the technology. I have to have the big vision. I have to understand who my market is, what their psychology is. That's what I love. I love it a lot because we're helping people. And by delivering a message that brings them into my tribe, my culture, my values, I get to see the lives that are transformed. There's nothing that gets me up more every day than being able to do that. And then lastly, referrals, raving fans. Well, you could say, I'm a raving fan for No BS Magnetic Marketing. That's why I'm here. And for no other reason. I'm a raving fan. This is what transformed my life. Without it, I don't know where I would be today. It wouldn't be the life I'm living today. It's been the key to everything I've done. I would just say where you are right now, step in, step up to the plate, get involved, be a part of this community. So I'll leave you with a few final lessons. You've got to use a proven system. And when I say system, I mean proven. Well, how do you know it's proven? Well, you're hearing from me and a number of other people this week who are here just simply to give back to you. I'm not here to sell you anything. I want you to be a part of this because I know what it did for me. So if you're reluctant, you're on the side, you're thinking, well, this can't work for me. Trust me, it can. With all the indoctrination I had, and this is the way you have to do things in life, and trust me, I got plenty of indoctrination. It took a tribe, a community, to take me to the other side, and the good side, it's a good side, where I could actually start to live a life that others thought not possible. I mean, my colleagues in dentistry can't believe that I do what I do today. I'm a product of the product. I'm a product of this product right here, Magnetic Marketing. You need to find a tribe and a community. Well, you're right here. That's what this is. This is a tribe. This is a community with people that have been a part of this. They have taken the teaching of Dan Kennedy and put it in the systems. It is the place you want to be if you want to change your life. And finally, just get started. Get started. You're here right now. Maybe you've taken the first steps and you joined. You're thinking about it. You've got to get started and then test your ideas. The community here is to help you. They'll give you feedback and you test and you find you get some feedback and, well, this didn't quite work the way I thought. Fail a lot, but fail on small tests forward. This community will help you do that. So you don't break your budget. You don't get flustered by, well, this isn't going to work. Take small steps, but take action, move forward. It's the momentum that's going to create your future freedom that you want in your life. All right, Marty and team, that's all I got. I'll close it off right there.
David, thank you so much. And again, we saved the best part for last. We got such an awesome thing coming up and a few things real quick before we go into that. What's interesting to me with Vance and with David is I didn't really see their slides. I didn't hold out what they were going to say, but we're all saying the same stuff. And one of the big things that came out that David said over and over and over again, and I say this as his friend, he stole my thunder a little bit because I was going to go into it, but he kept using the word community, which is why you're going to want to get the newsletter. You're going to want to get this every month to expand your community and do all the great things. And we got a great one coming up right now, which is we're going to be here, myself, Vance Morris, Dr. David Phelps, for 1 hour to Zoom with you, answer questions, and give you direct help. Remember, it's free, guys. There's absolutely no cost. I want to go through how this works if you take the VIP upgrade. So we're going to start that at 11:30 Mountain. 11:30 Mountain is when the VIP Zoom launches. We'll be here for a solid hour to rock and roll with you, and your community expands today, because then you're now going to be part of our community, and it's so important as an entrepreneur that you have support. There's no doubt, Vance, that you would agree that what's helped us to get to millions is our community. And so be part of the community today and come and do the Zoom, and again, it costs nothing. So again, to be very specific, upgrade to VIP, you get it for free. Normally $197, okay? But you're going to get access to the special Zoom. And again, this is always the comment we get, that they love this so much because it's personal attention. And how awesome is that? Vance and David are busy guys. We're running seminars. People pay us thousands and thousands. Many have paid us 6 figures for coaching and consulting. But you got us today for free. And we thank Russell and Dan for that. Okay, again, and this is so huge. You see how much content we've gone through, even in a very small amount of time. And it's going to be that way the entire week. And I'm so excited also that Russell's coming up Friday to speak. And that's going to be amazing. So remember, VIPs get lifetime replays of the challenge to watch over and over as many times as you want. Okay, again, let's go through the most incredible free gift ever, which we call the Myth Key, to go over all the awesome stuff with that, which again, it's so much stuff. I got to go through my stack here. You're going to get Dan's Magnetic Marketing book. You're going to get the 74 from Funnel University Swipe File book, which is just incredible. You're going to get 3 of Dan's best courses: Renegade, Time Management, Midas Touch, Marketing Selling. Remember what I said earlier, the brass ball factors can change a whole lot of things, open up a whole lot of doors for me, and it's helped me to navigate having 80 employees and 7 companies. I couldn't do that without the brass ball factor for sure. 30 days again of the No BS newsletter, which is so important for your community. How many people right now, you want to see what other people do? You're curious what others are doing. You want to see their stories. You want to see the show and tell. So the newsletter is essential. So go ahead, guys. Remember, it's free for you. So you got 2 choices. There's 2 options. It's extremely simple, okay? You can go ahead and pay down $197. You got your VIP, all right? but you can get it for free and not pay the $197. Everything in the package, the hour Zoom with us, all this amazing stuff. And here's just how this breaks down logistically. It'll keep coming to you, and you get billed $97 a month. If you don't like it, you can cancel at any time, and you still keep your VIP access, the lifetime swipe files, and more for free. So we want to see you in the Zoom. We're kicking off here just soon, 11:30 Mountain. We rock and roll. Okay, so go ahead right now, upgrade to VIP, and we'll see you on the Zoom. Thank you very much.